Good morning. You're listening to a special Facebook Live edition of the BLAINESWORLD show, heard here on WPVM FM, typically on Wednesday mornings at 9 o'clock on the 103.7 FM. We're also on Facebook Live, and my guest for the special show today is Ben Mackel. And Ben, you can wave to all your fans and friends in Facebook world. Okay. And it's a real pleasure to have Ben because we're going to be talking about Ben's upcoming show that he's involved in. But Ben, I know also prior to the show you're involved in, you're a singer-songwriter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I mean, I guess you do a little bit of everything. You're a singer-songwriter. You're an actor.
Yeah, you gotta have your foot in every pool, as they say.
Right. Yeah, you also had your own band.
Yeah.
And let me ask you. So your background primarily is music. Is that correct?
My background growing up was actually acting, and then I got into music through acting, and eventually it just kind of diverted into mainly music. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about the growing up part. So you grew up where?
I grew up in Hendersonville, actually.
Okay. And
yeah, at the Flat Rock Playhouse. I started taking acting lessons when I was 10 years old. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, do you remember your first play?
Oh gosh, yeah. It was James and the Giant Peach, and I was James. Yeah.
What, at Flat Rock?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I had this great idea, Ben, either for Flat Rock or NC Stage. I've told other people this, but what I want to do is have everybody do their first role. In other words,
that's a great idea.
It doesn't have to be the whole thing, but I bet you probably don't have a video of that performance, or do you?
I probably don't. No, I can't imagine where it would be.
But wouldn't that be great if you could see, little Ben at 10 years old, he's James in the Peach. So I guess what, you did a lot of stuff at Flat Rock?
I did. I spent, most of my days there. It was my second home, basically. I was in all of the main stage productions that kids needed to be in. I was doing all the children's theater, helping out striking. I was just very involved at Flat Rock.
Well, quite a background. And so then from there, did you continue to study acting?
I did. I graduated high school and went on to college and graduated with a BFA in musical theater.
Where was that?
I went, at Catawba College near Charlotte.
Okay. And were you in a lot of the shows there?
Yeah, I was doing all the shows there, and the summer stock in between would go to different theaters, regional theaters, and do summer stock. And then when I graduated, I went off to Barter Theater, just over in Abingdon. I was the resident actor there for about 8 years or so, and bought a house, settled down, and then I turned 30 and was like, well, I got to try something else, and went off to New York City and lived there for, 4 or 5 years, doing regional theater and going in and out of the city, doing some touring. And I met my band, the Blue Eyed Betties, and we did some touring of that. And finally, decided to stop traveling so much and settle down back in Nashville because I just miss it so much.
It's really cool that you're still acting in Nashville. And you and I were talking off the air that you were in that one show at NC Stage. What was the show again?
Frost Nixon was
the one I saw. I mean, you saw a lot of stuff in NC Stage, but you were so good. That the whole show was just magnificent.
Yeah,
and that was quite an experience.
Yeah, it was really, really great show. Really good people there to work with, actually. Yeah.
By the way, out of all your shows, do you remember what's your favorite role you ever had?
Oh my
aside
God.
from James.
That's tough. They're all so different. The one that always kind of stands out to me, I did a really beautiful production of The Fantastics at Barter Theater that I'll always remember. And I also did a really great production of Bat Boy. I don't know if you know.
Oh, I do. Sure. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
my
I
goodness.
played Bat Boy, and it was a marathon, but it was such a good, it was great. That's one that kind of sticks out.
And the great thing, nobody knows it. It's very few people know it, but it's what a fun show. Get somebody to do it in Asheville. Love to see you in that too.
I think it would go off well here. Yeah.
But I still think we should have you come back in the James show. That'd
be great.
We won't stereotype you in terms of age. You should be able to play
I hope not.
everything. So then talk a little bit about. So then after doing a whole bunch of acting, you started getting into music, and
yeah.
What was the background on that?
Yeah, so at Barter Theater, well, I was always, interested in music, and I kind of picked up the guitar in college and just kind of noodled around on it, but it was always just a hobby. And then when I went to Barter Theater, they always, what I love about that company is they try to challenge you and push you in ways that you didn't know you could do. And one of the ways they challenged me was through music. And so I got into composing for theater. I would write the underscoring for some plays and for the children's theater, and that's how Billy Goat Gruff came about. the girl that wrote the words, Gwen Edwards, she was excuse me, she was what they call a barter player there, which is kind of their non-resident or their non-equity resident company. And her challenge was to be a playwright. And I had been talking to her about my favorite, folklore Appalachian tale was Billy Goat Gruff, and she decided to give it a shot and wanted me to write the music. And so they just did one scene, and then they loved it so much that they commissioned us to write the whole thing. And it's been taken off ever since. They've done it at Barter Theater probably 4 times. They've done it down in Charlotte and Charleston and Flat Rock, and it's got a good healthy run about it. It's just that I'm not very good at being on the business side of it. So it's kind of been word of mouth. Theaters who've heard about it just want to do it.
Now you said a song, you've done the songs and that, or the music for that. Have you written songs as well?
Yeah, I write a lot of songs with my band. I've written a good amount of songs. And again, I got into it kind of in college, where I was just kind of writing for myself. And then once I met my band and saw that like this could be an actual thing, like, people really want to hear it, then I started to go, with my band, and then also through a solo kind of venture that I call Threadbare, which is like, really kind of worn down, melancholy songs that are really personal to me, but I am finally getting them out there to everybody. Yeah.
And so the band, the Blue Eyed Betties, how long has that been in existence?
Yeah, we've been around, I guess, for about 5 or 6 years now. We have 3 albums. We've toured all over. We've played everywhere from like hospital cafeterias to Lincoln Center. You know what I mean? We've done it all. We play anywhere and everywhere. And it's just the 3 of us. It's a banjo, fiddle, guitar trio, and it's a lot of harmony driven songs that we all sing together. It's a really fun time.
Now, are all 3 of you based out of Asheville?
No, actually, we all met. We were all living in New York City at the time, but we met doing a show in Sarasota, Florida. And it was kind of a review where we all were playing our instruments, and we just hit it off really well as friends and decided to play a couple open mics of our own songs. And that went off really well. And then as our contract ended in Sarasota, we decided to tour our way back home to New York, playing gigs along the way, and it worked. And so we just kept going.
So they're not in the Asheville area?
They're not actually. My banjo player's in Brooklyn, my fiddle player's in Indianapolis. Wow. So we just get together when we can and tour.
Because I was going to ask you, I'd love to see that, but I don't know when were you ever in Asheville?
Yeah, we come to Asheville all the time. We play ISIS, we play all the breweries. We make the rounds, but only when we're on tour, when we can get together.
Well, let me know about that. But back to Threadbare. So ballpark, how many songs have you written? Do you know?
Oh gosh. Well, for Threadbare, I only have a couple EPs, so probably about 6 or 7 songs. For the Betties, for Blue Eyed Betties, the ones that I kind of brought to the table, we all collaborate, but what I brought to the table, are probably about a third of them, because we all kind of do the same thing. It's hard to say. There's been so many songs that you just kind of put in the back burner and just kind of forget about. So it's hard to say how many I've actually written, but yeah.
I'm always fascinated by songwriters in terms of how you write them. Do you sit down and just write a song, or do you have a discipline to it, or you just do it when you feel like it?
I don't have a discipline yet. It's always been a true form of expression for me. When I need something to come out, that's when I write it. There are a lot of good songwriters that sit down every morning and are diligent, right, and treat it as a job, and they write and until something comes out. And I haven't really explored that yet. For me, it's more, like I said, just expression of myself.
Well, in your next life, you'll become a full-time singer-songwriter.
Maybe. I've got a lot more years to go, hopefully.
Exactly. But let me put you on the spot a little bit. I hadn't really had you prepare for it, but could I have you maybe do one of the songs from Threadbare, or that you wrote an original?
Sure. Yeah. Let me see what kind of tuning I'm in here. I play in a lot of different tunings. One of the people that I've that always inspired me as a songwriter is actually a local musician called David Wilcox.
Okay, yeah, sure.
and he tunes in lots of different tunings. And I actually met him a couple years ago, and we hit it off, and we're like great friends now. So this is my like childhood songwriting hero. I'm telling you, like I was in awestruck. It's still kind of surreal when he just calls me every once in a while. But
Have you ever performed with him?
yeah, I went on tour with him a couple times.
Oh, very
yeah, we
exciting.
sing together, and yeah, it's kind of wild. But yeah, we're more friends now than songwriting buddies, I guess.
Okay, great.
Oops. All right, it's been a while since I've played this. The pandemic kind of put musicians on the back burner, so bear with me. But I'll play this.
And the name of the song is?
This is called Morning Light. This is actually one that I wrote for the Bettys, but it's actually kind of branched me off into the Threadbare thing. So it's a kind of a bridge between the Blue Eyed Bettys and the Threadbare kind of stuff.
Okay, go for it.
I can really get in tune. And okay. Waking up from a sleepless night, watching dawn realign the dark to morning light. Drinking water just to cool my soul isn't setting things straight, just another way to lose control. Don't lock me down, don't show me around, I can find it on my own. Don't lock me down, don't show me around, I can find it on my own. Being dreamless never felt so right, having courage just to tell you what the other side of dark is like. I breathe it in and hope it lasts always. It's on the tip of my tongue. Just let it out and let them carry on. Sing a lonely song. Don't lock me down, don't show me around, I can find it on my own. Don't lock me down, don't show me around, I can find it on my own. Waking up from a sleepless night, watching dawn realign the dark for morning light. I can wait inside my head for days, instead of digging me out. Just come on in and put the kettle on, and sing a lovely song. Don't lock me down, don't show me around, I can find it on my own. Don't lock me down, don't show me around, I can find it on my own.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for you, as I'm hearing you sing. Singing, performing, writing, acting. you have a favorite thing of all the things you do?
Wow, that's a good question. It depends on the project, honestly, because there's been shows like theater shows where I've just been the happiest I've ever been in my life, and then there's been theater shows where, it's hard and it's not very enjoyable for me, and then there's been, the same with singing and playing songs. There's rough days on touring on the road, and then there's other times where it's, I'm living the dream. Yeah.
And talk about the dream. And that's how I guess I came across you with respect to the current project you're doing. And you alluded to it before, but give a little background on it. So Billy Goat, is it?
Billy Goat Gruff.
Billy Goat Gruff.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm not familiar with it. The Reader's Digest version of the story.
Right, so Billy Goat Gruff, it's about three goat brothers. It actually originated, it's like a Norwegian folk tale, but it kind of adapted itself into Appalachia, and that's where I heard of it. And it's three goat brothers that, they're looking for grass. It's kind of, it's hard to find food in the current situation, and they hear of this tale of this pasture where there's just abundance of food, and so they try to go. Billy, the youngest one, tries to run off and cross this bridge that's the tallest bridge, the hardest one to cross, and apparently there's a troll that lives underneath it that guards the pasture, an evil troll. And the original story is really just a couple paragraphs, but Gwen Edwards expanded on it and made it really, really touching for families. And it's a story that it teaches you how to conquer your fears. It teaches you how to look at what you see as evil in another light. There's many lessons to this show that's packed in here, and the music, it lends itself to some Appalachia and yeah, it's really great fun. I've mentioned to many people that, every time I play it, I watch the audience, and the adults seem to have a lot more fun, not more fun, but just as much fun, if not more, than the kids do. It's just a great time for all families.
And that's one of the cool things about the production that's going to be coming up at Hart Theater. Let me check the date, June 18th to July 4th. Is that this something, Ben, that it's good for anybody in the family?
Absolutely. If you want to bring, like, a lot of people see it as just a kid's show, but it's so much more than that. You bring your whole family, and your grandparents will love it. Your sister will love it. Your dog will love it. I don't know that dogs are allowed, but
well, no, actually they may be, because talk a little bit about that, Ben. In that Hart, which is kind of cool, they're going to be doing this outside. Is that correct?
That's correct. With all the pandemic going on, they weren't sure how to get things going, and this was one of the first ideas they had, was to do something outside. And this is the first time they've ever done it, and they've got a beautiful kind of space in between the two buildings. I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's this kind of, it looks like a little amphitheater, and it works really well. We're doing it in the mornings. There's like Friday, I think, at 10, Saturdays at, I don't want to say, and then Saturdays at 4. I'm not sure about those times, but check on the website, and just bring a blanket, bring some food, bring some drinks, and enjoy this wonderful tale.
Do you have to bring chairs? I haven't been to the amphitheater.
Chairs are welcome, I think. I haven't really been on that side of planning it, but chairs and blankets and whatever you want to bring to make yourself comfortable. There's plenty of room. Yeah.
Cool. And it's going to be at Hart, as I mentioned, from June 18th, July 4th. And I guess where you come into play, you mentioned, so it's a musical also, or it's a show with music. How would you describe it?
I would describe it as a folk musical, because, when you think of musical theater, you think of pianos and orchestras and jazz hands. And this is much more folk and rootsy, and, all guitars, and everybody in the cast actually plays an instrument at one point in the show. But as far as shows go, it is in the musical theater kind of form that, there's scenes, and then they go into song and adventures through time. And it's a great show.
How many people are in the cast?
6. I've done this show with many different incarnations, and this is the smallest that the cast can do. So they play sometimes different characters. It's mainly a group of storytellers that are here to tell you the story, and then they become the characters and live through the.
And your role in this year, I guess you'd call the musical director, or are you in the show also?
I'm just accompanying them. Yeah, there was a musical director that came and actually taught my music to them, because it's a different kind of art form, teaching music than playing it. And I was so glad that he did that. So now I'm just there to support them and guide them on the, I would say I'm a band leader, I would say, yeah.
Okay, cool. But it's really impressive that all these people are in it. They're going to be doing something musically as well, right? They're playing guitar, banjo, or whatever.
Yeah, we just kind of asked him, like, what if you ever played anything? And he's like, well, I kind of played this. And we're like, well, let's incorporate it into the show. So yeah. Okay,
very cool. And since you have the guitar, looks like ready to go, could I hit you up for maybe one song from the show?
I'll do my best. This is the song that Melody, the mother of the goats, it's kind of the lullaby that she sings to them that kind of encourages them to go find the pasture that they're looking for. Let's see. Yeah. When the mountains are rocky and the slopes are hard to climb, when the sky is cloudy and your way is hard to find, seek a place that's peaceful, let your heart be your guide. In the pasture of paradise, the fields are always green. In the pasture of paradise, the air is always clean. It's a hidden field of joy and laughter. You can find it if you try. Keep looking, and one day, my child, in the pasture you will lie.
Very sweet.
Thanks. Yeah, it's very much more pretty when a female is singing it, you know.
No, it must be very pretty with the whole other people performing as well. But thank you. I put you on the spot for that.
Oh, it's fine. My pleasure.
Okay. Well, let me ask you. I'm always impressed by actors as well as musicians, in terms of that you weren't reading music, you were playing it. Do you have a good memory?
Oh, if you ask any of my friends, they'll say no. You know, when it comes to certain things, different things stick better than others. But yes, there's been many times where I've had, you know, trouble remembering lines or where the song goes.
People tell me it's easier to memorize music than acting, straight lines. How do you feel?
I feel that's the same way. Yes, for some reason, music speaks to me a lot more than words. I can play music and express how I'm feeling much more than I can tell you how I'm feeling. And so I think because of that, I understand where music is going to go. And even if I forget it, my body or something in me just knows kind of where it's going to go, and I can feel it. Yeah. How
about back to your days at Barter elsewhere, when you throw dancing into it as well? I mean, that throws a monkey wrench into things, doesn't it?
Well, I got a dance minor from Catawba College while I was there. You try to really, you know, be a Renaissance man. You try to do everything you can so you can get a job. And I love dance. I really do. It's been a long time. You know, I'm pushing 40 these days, and I'm not exactly as limber as I used to be. But yeah, dance is wonderful. The way I was taught in musical theater growing up is that, you know, you start with a scene, and when words don't become enough, you add music to express it. And when even that doesn't become enough, you add dance to express it. So that's kind of how the hierarchy of musical theater came about in my eyes.
Because as you're talking about it, I'm not an actor, but I was in this one thing, where we did a song, and then at the very last minute, they added choreography into it. And so like with one day's notice and at the production, everybody's running into everybody, we weren't actors. And so I give you so much credit that you can put the three together. It is really quite something.
It takes a lot of practice and determination, but yes. Yeah.
So Ben, in terms of back to the show at Heart. So as I mentioned, it's going to be June 18th, July 4th. You'll have to check the website. I think I have it here. It's Heart Theater spelled correctly. That's the whole thing. Do you spell it with an R-E?
H-A-R-T. It's Haywood Arts Regional Theater?
No, it's hearttheater.org. It's
hearttheater.org. Right.
It's spelled correctly. I mean, do you have a feeling on that? How does she spell theater, by the way?
Oh, theater. Oh, gotcha. I believe theater with an R-E is the art form. Theater with an E-R is the place. So if you go to a movie theater, then it's E-R. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so I always get confused on that as well. It's going to be at Heart Theater, spelled re.org. That's June 18th, July 4th. As Ben mentioned, it's kind of cool. It's going to be mostly day performances, but not necessarily at night. Is that correct?
Right, correct. It's all during the day. Fridays are early in the morning. Saturdays are a little bit later. Sundays are a little bit later than that. But look on the website. I'm not really good on times, so
okay.
It'll definitely
we get the website. And lastly, Ben, if folks want to find out more about you, your music, or some of your upcoming things you're going to be doing, what's the best bet?
Yeah, you can either look for me on social media. My band has a Facebook and Instagram page, The Blue-Eyed Betties with a Y-S. And then Threadbare Songs is how you can find that for me. Or you can go to my website, which I try to update as much as possible. But that's benmackel.com.
Okay, that's M-A-K-E-L.
M-A-C-K-E-L, yeah.
And if people go there, can they hear some of your songs as well, or are you on YouTube?
I believe so. There's links to go to all of those different websites. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I want to thank you on very short notice for being my guest this special edition of the BLAINESWORLD Show.
It was my pleasure. It was lovely talking to you.
Okay, and we really look forward to seeing you in just hopefully in a couple of days, and it's going to be an exciting show.
Yeah.
June 18th, July 4th. I'll be speaking to you sometime, hopefully then. Thanks, Ben.
Great. See ya.